Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. For those who remember Salzburg, I tell you one thing, I'm not going to sing today, Edelweiss. I brought you something else. And I was already asked on the way up what's inside. And I said I will most likely reveal it sooner or later, which I'm going to do today once I get my headset fixed. This technique in Singapore should be perfect, right? But let's see how we get it. Okay. Here we are. You know this suitcase already very well, and today, since we talk people, planet, profit, I brought you something that will help us to guide into this future. I brought us some books. And these books, and one of them I will refer to it in a minute, even the author is with us, and the other books I leave for the time being here for the follow-up session afterwards. This is the 5th time we organize the World Nutrition Forum, the BIOMIN World Nutrition Forum, and it's another record again in terms of number of participants, and what I'm always most proud of, number of countries participating. And as Eva points out already, 75 different nations are here today in this room to discuss what is the theme of the BIOMIN World Nutrition Forum. We talk future, we don't talk products. In order to structure what's the future likely about, I have tried a very simplification way by calling it E plus F is G to the square, which means economics plus generation F equals to geopolitical and geriatric change, which makes the square. And I'm going to lead you through the next 45 minutes or so to see what stands behind this formula. And I call it the 4 mega trends of the BIOMIN World Nutrition Forum. And I will point to the gentleman here whose book I wrote in 1992, the mega trends, the 10 mega trends from John Naisbitt and his charming wife Doris, sitting here in front and will be here later on stage. John, I still remember 2 out of the 10, which I think is a good score, right? 2 out of the 10. One was high tech, high touch. And the other one, more important for me, was Europe and America needs a wake-up call from Asia. And that wake-up call has come. And that was also a motivation for me, most likely, to move to Asia in the year 1995. And from there onwards, I'm shifting my life from Singapore to Austria, Europe, and other places, and lately quite intensive into Brazil. And coming to the future, we have to understand the past, the history. And the year 2012 is a very special year. I think you all know this, the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar, which is going to end at the 21st December 2012. So some people say, this is going to be the end. So if this is really the end, we can clap down everything, go over, have coffee, and go home, because that will be easy. Why waste time when it's going to end anyway? But luckily, my son, Lucas, who was in Guatemala for 1 year on a Peace Corps mission, he came back with the good news and saying, it's not the end of the world, it's the end of one age, of one phase. And the Mayans were thinking, after this, there will be new, more clever guys to develop the calendar afterwards. So, in short, there will be a new morning on the 22nd of December coming up, a new day which have challenges and opportunities for us. And let's discuss these 2 days. What can we do about this future ahead? And I like the word from Einstein, who said, the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. And let's find a few to-dos the next 2 days among the group, among the distinguished panels of speakers. You may challenge them with all the questions you have at your brain at hand and get out the most of these 2 days to make the to-do, as Einstein has correctly pointed out, we should do. In the past, we have had a lot of predictions which didn't luckily really come true. And the first one, I think everybody remembers, Malthus, he said, the growth of food is not matching the growth of people, and we can only have a population of 2 billion people on Earth. Luckily, he was wrong, because he could not foresee the age of fertilizer, the age of new genetic varieties of seeds, the age of pesticides and other treatments of crop. So luckily, he didn't come true. But there was another group, very famous group, Club of Rome, 1972, issuing a book called The Limits to Growth. The limits to growth on world population, because it's growing, industrialization, taking pollution, increased demand for food production, as well as resource depletion. Again, this prediction hasn't come really true. The world population went up to 7 billion. Everybody could be fed because the world is producing enough calorie for every human being on Earth. It's only the distribution that fails and brings some areas into famine, hunger, and shortage. So why didn't really it became a problem? It became just the opposite, the age of affluence. And I'm going through to you to show you why this age of affluence has happened. In the late 40s, a Norwegian scientist from America was sent by Rockefeller to Mexico. Buenos dias, Mexico. Mexicans around here? Yeah, very good. You remember this guy? Yes. He's very famous because he started to do research on rust-resistant wheats in the somewhere dry desert of Mexico. And he found varieties that were rust-resistant, brought them to the US, and increased yields dramatically. And he is called for this the father of green revolution. Yet, the real famine avoidance program came when this wheat was sent to India in the 50s. And in India, for the first time, they grew a rust-resistant wheat, and the harvest was so bumper that schools were closed to send kids to the fields to harvest the amount of wheat they never have imagined they can harvest on 1 acre or hectare of field or lakh or whatever you say in India to this, right? What is in India the size? Lakh? The size of 1 field? Hectare?
1 acre.
Acres. Acres. Okay, you're on acres. Great. So this is the father of green revolution, and he has given us in his work what is called green revolution has kept food costs low and sufficient for the world population growth. Wheat, corn, later it came GMO and hybrid seeds, and all this genetic improvement has helped to feed the world. But something happened in Asia. There is the very famous Philippine Rice Research Institute. Mabuhay to the Philippines. Here? Yeah, they're here, okay. Still wake up, yeah, good. The very famous Rice Research Institute has developed a semi-dwarfed, which is shorter and have more yields, rice variety, which helped, and this, what you see here, is the curve of increased yields over the year, just by genetic improvement on this dwarf. And that's what that's the reason why this was the age of affluence. Enough food for the growing world population. But that's not enough. The cost of food overall declined. This is the curve of the FAO food, no, it's World Bank, IMF, the food cost over the last 100 years. And as you can see from the 50s, it has gone down at a regression with the exemption of the oil shock. But overall food prices have come down in real nominal terms. Age of affluence has struck again. But more, and now I'm talking to our friends from the egg industry, if you look at the egg price, the historical egg price over the last, how many years? From 1900 to 2000. There's only one direction, down. Can you imagine how you survive in an industry which have a cheaper price every day tomorrow? It's almost impossible. Still, people manage to survive. And the egg industry has shown that it can deliver. Only the last 3 years, for the first time, egg price have started to increase. So age of affluence has struck here, and we're going to see another result of age of affluence, which is the so-called cheap China. Are you Chinese? Hi. Are you sure you're in the right film?
I think so. Are you Erich?
Yeah.
My name is Futura.
Futura,
And,
very nice dress. Yeah.
Excuse me, could you please tell me about the future?
Sorry, ma'am, I think we have the wrong film or wrong session because we talk about the past. And as I said, we have to understand the past first before we go to the future. So can you, sorry to say, but bye-bye?
All right, I'll come back later.
Sad to let her go, huh? But anyway, bye-bye. Where was I? Okay. China, yeah, okay. Products from China coming in, from the T-shirts to the slippers to the sneakers to the shoes. Everything was cheaper the next day. So cheap China made it possible. American consumers, Walmart made it also cheaper by buying huge quantities. So everything was just facing on times where everything was available and been cheaper and easy available every day. All of a sudden, the year 1999 has struck. And now, what happened in the year 1999? It was the first time in human history that on Earth there was added 1 billion people, 1 billion, from 5 billion to 6 billion people in 10 years. In 10 years. It never happened again, because next time it took 14, and the prediction till 2050 will take 7, 8, 9 millions, but at a much lower pace, at a much lower speed. In 10 years, 1 billion new consumers, 1 billion new people who eat, who consume every day. Happens in 1999. And I will show you what impact that has on us today and still has. The one thing was, Club of Rome came back and did a 30 years update, and it's what they call overshoot. And overshoot means something that cannot be sustained without a collapse. Overshoot happened in carbon dioxide already. Overshoot happened in a few other areas. But there's also good news. According to that book, there is reason to believe that humanity can still reverse some of this damage to Earth. So there is hope. But we have to do something about it, as Einstein said. Knowing there is a threat, not doing anything, is failure. So we have to do something about it. And what do we have to do about it? It's a citation from the very first hour when I took my studies in economics with Professor Ramosa, who is over here. And he explained to us, fresh grads, fresh students, what's economics. And he made it very simple, and I like it this way, because he said economics is the science to manage scarcities. But that was a long time ago, as you can see, right? I'm getting older and bolder, so I'm really a long time ago. The last 30 years, 40 years, economics was easy subject. In the age of affluence, Nothing scare, nothing short. Why you need economists? Not really, but we will see it helps in the future, because now it's the time. Economics will really strike, and we have to economize all our resources to really make more out of it because of the age of scarcity. Eva Maria had already pointed it out. The change has taken place exactly in the year 1999. And I'm going to show you the proof. This is the oil price. Nominal and inflation adjusted. It was the cheapest price in year 1999. And from then onwards, it went only one direction, and the direction is up. Next one, platinum. Platinum is used widely, of course, we all know, in handphone, in electronics. Same holds true. 1999, it was at its lowest, and since ever then, going only one direction, and this is up. The same holds true for food price index with a slight delay. As we can see, the year 2099, it started to gradually go up, nominal and real. And the age of scarcity has started. So these three examples show you very clearly, in the future, there is no more cheap things. Because also China has stopped to be cheap China. As we can see here from The Economist. The Economist having very nice articles and gimmicks always. And they titled this article, The End of Cheap China. Because also our Chinese friends here in the room moving up the industrial ladder. Chinese salaries, labor, costs increasing at a very high rate. So making China not really a cheap place. China has to import a lot of raw materials for the production, making it no longer a cheap place. So again, the age of scarcity has just begun. There is another very interesting subject I found during the research by more or less coincidence. Because in 1999 also something else happened, which John, as an American, and the American friends, they know most likely, the Glass-Steagall Act, which was put in our power in 1933 to prevent speculation by separating investment banks from commercial banks. And this was signed into power to be null and void. There is no more separation between those two banks. And what happened afterwards, I will show you in a second. This is a graph where the non-financial industry earnings of the listed US companies are put over here. From here, it's a quite slow increase, but not very exciting curve. Now let's look what happened to the finance industry after 1999. And you will see here, 1999, because part of the Steagall Act has been waived earlier, but in 1999, when the separation of an investment bank and a corporate bank was lifted, the profits of the finance industry quadrupled. Why? Because the banks, very simple, loan their own money, loan it to somebody else who took another loan, who took another loan. That's what's called leverage. And at the top of here, there was the leverage on the world finance market was 52 times the world GDP in total. World GDP is about 40 trillion, 45 trillions, times 52. Money was in the system speculating against the other. And what happened is, we know, 2008, Lehman Brothers, the banks had a shareholder equity of 2%. 2%. Which industry, which company can run on 2% shareholders' equity, trading billions? I don't know anyone. I couldn't, you couldn't, nobody could. The financials could, because the bank got their own money. And they thought it's going on forever. They have the paychecks, the bonus was just flowing in. And when the crisis came, what happened? The bankers will give back the money? I don't think so. They kept it, because what Friedman called it correctly is They privatize the profits, and we pay the bill. Man,
I'm back.
I know your name already.
Yes.
So?
Are we ready to talk about the future yet?
No, not really. You see, we got 770 people, BIOMIN World Nutrition Forum, talking about the present. Say hi. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
No future. Sorry, no future.
But it's getting of more and more importance.
Yeah, I know, but we're still stuck in the present, you know. Have to solve the issues of today. Cannot talk about the future. See, privatize profits, socialize the cleanup. How we do that one, right? How we do? Any idea? Any idea? So sorry.
That's sad. But good luck with your presentation.
Okay,
Maybe I'll see you later.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's look into what happened else to the economic changes that I had. 3 factors: world population, China factor, and drought factor. World population, we've done already our homework. We know it's growing, different predictions coming up, and it will end somewhere 2050 and will be the peak reached. Of course, the more people on the planet, the more demand for food, the more demand for commodities and other things. So that will be strained to our resources, continuing to hold up for the next 30, 40 years. The China factor, what is the China factor? Increasing world population plus 1.3 billion Chinese turning into a consumer market, turning into people who buy cars, more cars than the Americans buy now. China is by far the largest world market for cars. And it's going on and on, endless stories. And now I'm coming to the first book. John Naisbitt has written this book, China's Megatrends, the 8 Pillars of a New Society. And if you really want to know what's going on in China, I highly recommend you to read this book. Since I make so much promotion for you, do I get one for free and you sign it afterwards? Okay. Oh, Doris signs. Okay, great. You have some more for sale? We do it together. Perfect, very good. So we can sign afterwards. Very insightful book. And as such, I really can recommend, of course, all the other Naisbitt and Doris Naisbitt books. Very informative. But since we talk about China factor, it's very important. China factor, in our industry, we're happy because they eat more. But they need more of their commodities. So the soybean import of China is already a known history. It's going up and up and up, raising world market price for soybean. At the same time, interesting trend. China used to be a net exporter of corn. It's no longer is. It's going to be an importer of corn, because simply the arable land in China available for agriculture is declining also. As such, this will be something we have to watch. Another very interesting factor is China's use of fertilizers. Of course, they try to increase the yields on the field they have, and they have to increase the yields, so they use a lot of fertilizer. In that case, I've taken phosphorus as a fertilizer. And why phosphorus? Because phosphorus cannot be replenished. Either you have the rock or you don't have the rock phosphorus, which means once the phosphorus is what we call the phosphorus peak is reached, no more new mines can be found. The supply will fade out over the years to come. Luckily, it will be somewhere in 2021, 00, which is a long time ago, and even most of our kids probably will be around or not around. So why worry too much about it? But I think we have to worry because it's irreversible. It's an overshoot. And we are close to that overshoot in phosphorus. So what need we do to get around these constraints? And to me, the best example is the feed industry using phytase. Instead of buying the phosphorus from the rock produced, we take the phytase to crack the phytate in our foodstuff. And that's what is needed, the innovation of human brain. to overcome these shortages is challenged and is needed in the future. And it's needed more and more because of the age of scarcity. And in the age of scarcity, we have to economize our resources more than we used to do in the past. Economize the resources. This is a very interesting graph which shows the China use of imported oil and the correlation to the world market price. As I said, China is by now the biggest car market in the world and is going to grow, which means oil price will grow further. We are already up at 110 now. But the good news, oil is something we have alternatives. But these alternatives only can kick in when the price of the crude is going up. And once this happens, we can economize again with our innovative power to replace the crude oil as a feedstock for cars, for heating, and so on. So there is hope out there. But the end of age of oil, the peak oil, is the same story. And as the economist has put it here rightly, the end of oil age is somewhere around. Let's think about how to circumvent this threat also with our innovative means. The drought factor, which is badly hit, especially this year, is something we have facing more and more droughts. And I like this gimmick here because it's telling you about global warming. Rubbish is cyclic, global warming is cyclic. Doesn't matter. Is it cyclic? Is it man-made? Is it not man-made? As long as there's drought, there's no rain. No rain, no corn. As simple as that. I don't care why it is out there, no rain. When we face no rain, we have to do a problem. And as such, let's look what will happen because of this. The US Food Institute has stated food price inflation expected to remain strong for the most of 2013. Wheat prices will go up, no matter if it's climate change or not. But with the climate change, it will go up even more. And I found a very interesting book, Global Warming and Agriculture, from the Center for Global Development in the US. If you read this book, you can read for every country how much lesser or more rain you will get the next 20, 30 years, how much more carbon dioxide is in your air. Carbon dioxide is also a feedstock to the plants, but which plant benefit more, which plants benefit lesser. If you want to read more about it, I recommend you this book, and you can understand and invest more wisely in which area to produce. At the same time, with global warming, we are facing a worldwide crunch on acreage. Growing population, reducing of arable land will end us up in about only 2,000 square meters per human on Earth for agricultural production. For all our food needs 2,000 square meters. That's not much. And this we have to manage in order to feed everyone, which is another challenge and another opportunity. Water will impact our industry. I remember Dr. Osler from Brazil. Hi, bom dia, brasileiro. Bom dia. Ah, very good. Hey. Where's the carnival atmosphere? A little bit more. So, Dr. Osler, he gave a presentation in Brazil in February, and he said, because beef is going to be under pressure, enjoy it and chew it as long as you can afford, because very soon the beef will be very expensive and difficult to put on your plate. Especially Brazilians who eat an average 44 kilogram beef per capita, much more than pork, will suffer. But they have a low production cost down there, so probably prices are still okay. But in terms of water consumption, beef will lose out to chicken and pork because it demands high amount of water, which we will not have in the years to come. So what can we do about this whole scenario? First, integrated business models. Second, farm will follow the raw materials. Third, innovate to add revenue to your operation and innovate the use of raw materials. How do we do vertical integration? I think everybody in this room knows what's vertical integration. When there is the margin squeeze, the force, the vertical integration will be more. Because if you're on only one section, you're squeezed, you're losing. If you have more section to cover of the value chain, you probably survive for the next cycle to go up. But it's not always complete vertical integration that works. I remember when I was visiting Ghana to my friend Ernest. Ghana, hey, my boy, Ahutisen. We visited a poultry farmer near Tema, one of the largest poultry farmers in Ghana. And he complained, of course, the high cost of corn. I said, okay, great. Look around your farm. There's plenty of empty land, empty farmland. Why not just grow your corn self? He looked at me and he said, sir, I'm a poultry farmer and not a corn farmer. When corn is $80 a ton, I agree. I would like to be a poultry farmer. But when corn is costing $220 a ton, I'd rather be a corn farmer than a poultry farmer. So if I have to choose, I would be now a corn farmer rather than anybody sitting in this room producing animals. But what I can do is innovation, contract farming, growing yourself is not always that easy, but especially in that case, it would have been possible. So think about other means, how to integrate your operations backward or forward to tap more of the value chain. When we moved to Brazil for our fermentation plant, I'm going to show you in a minute, sugar was $160 a ton. We didn't think about growing sugarcane ourselves. No way, no idea. At the price of $650, $700 a ton for sugar, I'm really thinking about growing my own sugarcane for the fermentation plant because I get the margin of the sugarcane producer. So this is something, as an example, how vertical integration can work. Our friend from America most likely know this person, Joel Newman, president of the American Feed Industry Association, last week's statement. $8 per bushel of corn and 17 per bushel of soybean. And I'm not very savvy on bushel and metric tons, but maybe our American friends can help us to get the price in US dollars per metric ton, are directly affecting all livestock production in the United States, and it will also be reflected in the future feed and food consumption. It's not a statement, age of scarcity. We have to economize more and more the use of raw material. As I just mentioned, our friends from Brazil, traditionally Brazil, animal production was in the south, and now it's moving up, Mato Grosso do Sul, because that's where is the corn, that's where is the soybean. So reduce cost of transportation, make the chicken on the cornfield, pack it and ship it to overseas or wherever. So that's the trend. Another trend, innovate and add revenue to your farm. This is an example of a plant that's going to be built in Houston, outside of Texas. 20,000 cattle feedlot. All the manure is treated in a biogas. Biogas producing with byproducts algae. Algae is going to be fed back to the cattle. Methane is captured and produced electricity. So this is something I wouldn't recommend everybody to jump in now. But watch this and see how the energy and other prices. And if there's a carbon cap tax, as they were discussing in Australia, on animal production, that's something that could fly. Add revenue to your operation. Innovative use of raw materials. I think we're all experts in this field here. Alternative resources of raw materials only can be used when we have more amino acids and more enzymes to break down non-nutritive factors or fiber. And as I always like to say, I'm dreaming of the day when we can feed canola to the fish with the enzyme and amino acids in it. And as Eva Maria was in the beginning, it was actually the discussion about FCR, feed conversion ratio, is definitely the key driver. But what's coming more, the key driver is feed efficiency ratio. Means a real input-output relationship. Cost input, cost output. Efficacy input, efficacy output. So that's the trend where we have to look when we go to the feed direction and what to have to do Oh, I thought so.
I need to talk to you about the future.
Oh, again. Shall we
Same
talk
topic.
about the future? Shall we talk?
Yes?
Yeah? Yeah?
Say yes.
Say yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're welcome.
So, I have 3 questions for Mr. Erich. Only three. You've been talking for so long. Can you give me some time to talk, please?
Okay.
Okay, first question. What are you as a company doing for a better future?
We as a company? BIOMIN.
Yes.
Huh? BIOMIN as a
That's
company?
the company, that's right.
It's easy to answer.
Okay.
Okay. Here you see what I mentioned before. Brazil, Herbert Danner and our Brazilian friends are here. That's the latest fermentation plant in Brazil. And this is where we're realizing a system where from the sun we go straight to the feeding barn. From the sun we go to the sugar cane. From the sugar cane we extract the syrup and bagasse burning into steam and electricity, and the corn syrup is fed directly to the fermenters. But that's only the input, and the output of the system is like this. You get feed additives, which I hope you all buy in large quantities in the future. And we get some carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is captured in algae, and algae is produced for biodiesel. Oops, now it's gone. Anyway, that's what we do in Brazil for our customers.
Yes, how did you know what I was going to ask you next? About everybody, your customers. What are you doing for your customers for a better future?
Easy. The nutri-economic system, which is balancing carbon footprint, economy, and efficiency. BIOMIN is the only one that has such a concept, and we're going to hear more about it on Friday, I think. Then we have the latest development on the enzymes, which is the FUMzyme. And then we have another carbon footprint offsetting program, which is particular Futura designed for this event. What you see here is an animation of our latest plant under construction in Vietnam. Hello, Vietnam. This is going to be very soon, hopefully finished, under construction. And what we've done here is, for this event, the World Nutrition Forum here in Singapore, with all the people coming, flying in, with all the food, with everything we produce here on a carbon footprint, we have done a life cycle assessment, and whatever carbon footprint is produced due to this event is offset in Vietnam. Here we have a photovoltaic, 200 kVp. Here we have insulation, special insulation to reduce the green roof. The same holds true for the office building. So opening will be somewhere next year, Phuong. I hope so, Ossi. And whoever is around in Vietnam at that time, feel free to join and witness the carbon footprint offsetting program for the World Nutrition Forum 2012 in Singapore. Nice, huh? Not so?
Great.
Great. Wow, good. Thank you. Oh.
But I'm interested now in you as a person, Erich. What are you as a person doing for the future then?
So many
as
questions.
An individual. Last one.
Last one, sure, last one.
Promise.
What are you doing as a person? What I do as a person? I'm holding this presentation, right? See here? I make aware everybody about the problems of the future, and I hope that helps something. So.
Yes, it's a very good presentation so far.
Thank you. A very nice dress, by the way. Right? Very nice
Thank
dress,
you.
So, I eat more fish, okay? So let's eat more fish. Sorry, guys, but that helps a lot. And one more thing, I will buy me an e-bike, which fits anyway, right? So I can use this one. So is that good enough?
Very good.
Very good.
So, I'm very pleased with your answers. Thank you for finally answering me. Wait,
Okay.
One
I
more
thought
thing.
We're finished.
Can you promise me that you will do what you just told everybody here? You have to?
Wow.
Charming as you are, difficult to say no,
Walk
right?
the
But
talk.
my wife is also here, right?
All right? Walk the talk, everybody.
Walk the talk, everybody. Okay.
Yes?
So why not you come to the next World Nutrition Forum 2014? Then
Of
you can
course.
see the progress.
Will
Okay.
you send me a ticket in the future?
You talk to that nice lady, so ladies to lady can talk to that.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bola, 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 bola.